Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Interrobangs Red Couch Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Koehler, and on this week's episode, I have the absolute pleasure of having Kara D'Arcangelo.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this episode. We just had our job hunt issue just pass us, so it's still on shelves now for anyone who wants to check it out. But I thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring our finance coordinator onto the show. So very, very excited. Right off the bat, just to kind of get things going a little bit, I know you uploaded a hot sauce video not too long ago. It's hard for me not to want to ask you questions because I love spicy foods and hot sauce. So how did that go as a whole for you, that whole video experience?
Yeah, so if I'm going to be real honest here, it was actually just Frank's Red Hot. And I put that on everything. So that was not spicy for me at all. That was just all acting, pure, fake. It wasn't spicy. Dun. Yeah, there's a secret. So we were all kind of just pretending because, I don't know, we have a pretty high, I'm saying we as in me and Sarah, and Bosch did pretty good too. We all have a pretty high spice tolerance. So it was all behind the scenes. We were just pretending that it hurt, but it really didn't.
Nah, I love that. Way back in my YouTube streaming kind of days, I would do shots of Tabasco sauce and hot things. Those ones hurt. Frank's Red Hot, it's not too bad though. At least it tastes good. So
it does taste good. I feel like the heartburn was the worst part.
Yeah,
honestly,
it'd be the day and a half following doing something like that. Yep. That would be a bit less fun.
Yeah.
And so for those who don't know, you are the finance coordinator for the FSU. Can you just lightly, for those who maybe don't know, explain what that is and kind of what you do on a regular basis?
Yeah, of course. All right. So as a finance coordinator, I take care of, let's start with all the finance things. So I'll take care of the student life education funds. So that's for activities outside of the classroom that programs want to take. So we've had some programs going to Toronto to look to do some trade shows. We have programs going to Niagara Falls to tour Great Wolf Lodge in the tourism industry. So it's just a great way to get the programs out there. So I take care of all those, bring those to the executive meetings and pass them for approval. I also take care of any budget helps that students need. So students have come to me, saying that your first time in school, you don't know how to manage your money. So I'll help them kind of create a budget with the templates that we have. And then also just creating financial literacy events for our students. So I've done the finance bingo, financial bingo, and there's actually one coming up in the next couple of weeks for March is Financial Literacy Month. And then also just bringing in some guest speakers to having some financial lunch and learns. And, money's kind of a hard topic for students to talk about, especially, moving away for the first time on your own. So I just try to make it enjoyable as much as possible and as comfortable as possible for students to talk about money in a fun way and just educate students on how it's very important, to manage your money, especially when you're away from home and, you're managing your grocery lists and trying to pay your rent and stuff. So just trying to bring light and education to that topic. And then apart from all the fun finance stuff that I do, I also take care of clubs. So I oversee all of the clubs ratification. So I bring those to our executive committee for ratification. And then once approved, I do club training and then just coordinate club events. When the clubs come to me, make sure that the events are approved, and then as well as just clubs day and whatnot. So that's pretty much a big scope of what I do. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything, but yeah.
Well, even then, that's a lot going on.
Yes,
that's a lot on your plate. Wow. Well, and I know especially just from a financial standpoint, there are no shortage of topics for students to be talking about when it comes to finances, especially just with how the global landscape has been lately on top of just being a college student in general. What are some of the main questions you end up getting asked from students who kind of come to you for inquiries? For sure.
So a lot of students don't know how to budget their money. So they're just kind of having a difference, differentiating what's an actual want versus what's a need. So that's one of the big ones, trying to help students figure that out. Do you actually need that brand new perfume or is that a want? So that's a hard one for students. So just helping them with their budgets. And then actually do help a lot of students with their TD1 forms. So just guiding them through it and how to fill it out because they do look really complicated, but they're not as complicated as they seem. So just help students with that. That's a main one that I get. And yeah, mostly just budget questions. And a lot of students actually do question about bursaries and grants and stuff. So I try to guide them with that, with my knowledge, and then just kind of send them to the right direction within the college for where to apply and whatnot. So
that's a great point, especially on the bursaries, because a lot of people just do not apply because they don't really know how to get around it in the first place.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't realize that there are infinitely less people who apply for these bursaries than they think that that there would be.
Exactly.
So that's a great point.
Yeah, and so we had like a guest speaker come in from the bursary. I forget what sector it is in the college, but basically she came in and just gave like a whole workshop, a lunch and learn on how to apply for bursaries and what was out there for the students to apply, which was like super great because then the students didn't realize that that was out there and that it was kind of, you do have to put in a bit of work for these bursaries, but that it is something that is high reward, right? Once you do put in the work. So
yeah. And I know you're probably going to have a lot on your plate over the next kind of month or so, just with tax time coming up.
Yes.
And because most high schools and institutions really don't teach how to do it.
Yep.
So I assume you'll have a fun time with that when that rolls around.
For sure. Yeah. We've gotten a couple inquiries about that. And we do have a tax clinic coming up. So we're sending students to that and trying to help as much as possible as I can, but referring the students to the tax clinic so they're getting the proper help.
And so I know you are part of the FSU, but you also attend Fanshawe as a student. I know you've graduated from the business program. You're taking an advanced diploma now. From what you've learned through your classes so far, what would you say have been some of the most transferable skills that you've picked up from those into your role as finance coordinator?
Yeah, for sure. So I think as a business student, one thing that we're always reminded of is that you have to take into consideration every stakeholder. So in my role, the stakeholders is every Fanshawe student as well as our employees and whatnot. So I feel like knowing that knowledge has been very good because you're taking into consideration the whole, the people who matter the most to the organization. So our students, evidently. Additionally, just like time management skills and even like interpersonal skills. Like a couple of my classes, how to deal with certain, one of the main topics that we've actually gone over this year is people are resistant to change, which is very true. People don't like change. And so how to deal with students or just anyone really who, change, they are faced with change and how to deal with it and to understand that from a management point of view that, some people don't like change and they have to coach them through that. So I feel like that's been a major topic in some of my classes this semester. And then as well, just like great leadership skills, how to be a good leader, how to lead people by example, and how to act as a leader and not a manager is always a great topic that we've learned in our classes, which is super applicable, because you want to be there for people and not just bark orders. So.
Oh, definitely. And great point about change, because as a finance coordinator, you're kind of having to help people deal through two major fears that people have, which is not only talking about finances in general, but then having to change and implement things to get it through it in general.
Exactly.
So that's a very important skill to have.
And having the empathy, right, to understand that money is a hard topic, and it is a big change coming to school for the first time. So it's good to have that in your mind. People don't like change, just take that from perspective, and then you're able to help the students better. So.
And I think people underestimate just how valuable social skills and empathy, like you said, as a whole, are important for nearly every career you could go down.
Exactly.
It's such a transferable skill that anytime people ask, I'm like, yeah, just learn how to talk to people and relate to them. It's such an important thing to know in life.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And so in terms of working with the students, you mentioned a lot of the big questions that you get asked. Are there any consistent issues that students bring to you that are related across a lot of the school board? Are there any consistencies that people bring?
Oh, wow. I feel like the biggest consistency, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, is people don't know how to manage their money. So having these financial literacy events where we show the students how to build a budget, how to talk about their credit score, why their credit score is important. Like there's just a lack of, I don't want to say knowledge, but for lack of a better word, there is a lack of knowledge from the students from that standpoint. I even went into one of the residences and did a whole budget workshop, how to create their own budget. And I had students coming to me saying, yeah, I've already spent all of my meal plan money because I didn't know how to budget that. And you don't think that you have to budget your meal plan money, but you do because you want it to last both semesters. So I feel like that's like a big one, is just managing money. And you might not be working a part-time job or a full-time job, so how to manage your money when you don't have any income coming in, that's a big question that I get often.
Well, and a lot, especially with things like OSAP and bursaries in general, people get them early on in the year, they see the money and they're like, oh cool, free money.
Exactly.
Perfect. And then by the end of the year they're starting to really hemorrhage for funds, not knowing what to do and starting to panic. And yeah, like I mentioned, there's a lot of institutions that don't really go about teaching it in general. But I know there are some events around the college going on to sort of raise awareness and sort of helping people along that. And you did mention things like the finance bingo. Can you just talk about some of those events that Fanshawe holds throughout the year and how important they can be for students?
Of course, yeah. So whenever we do try to do kind of a lot of lunch and learns. So bringing in people from outside of Fanshawe and even within Fanshawe to just talk about topics. So we have someone from TD Bank who came in and gave a whole lunch and learn on your credit score and, why it's important to keep a good credit score and, just those topics that people don't really talk about. I think you wouldn't just talk about that, with your buddies. And then the financial bingo is just a great way to give it's fun. You're playing bingo, you can win some prizes. But then I'm also there giving tips on how to manage your money, just going over other little tips that are important as a student when it comes to your money. And then, and then we have the tax clinic coming up that we do for the students, which is also a great opportunity, and a great resource because a lot of students don't know how to manage their own or file their own taxes. So yeah, those events are very, very important for the students, and it's great to have the student population come in and participate for those.
Well, I think a lot of people kind of overthink just how complicated a lot of financial issues actually are. When I had to explain to one of my colleagues not long ago just the importance of having like a credit card, not even to spend a ton of money on it, but just to develop credit, get a history going. And it's something that I think of as second nature, but a lot of people just do not have an idea of how to actually navigate it.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough, like growing up, my dad was very financial literate. So he taught myself and my brother, how to manage your money, why your credit score is important, credit score is important, but not every student is fortunate with that experience and don't have a parental figure to teach them that, or, it's too awkward to talk about money with their parents. So that's why it's important that we bring light to those topics and concerns, because we don't want our students to go out in the real world and then be scrambling because they don't know how to manage their own funds. They don't have a credit score to, apply for a house or to get a house, So it's really, really important that they learn now before it's too late.
Oh, 100%. But thank God we know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And so as a finance coordinator, you're part of the executive team. So you do work with a few people, including the president. Can you just lightly describe the dynamic between the four of you in particular that are on that team?
Yeah, for sure. We've got a great team, honestly. Like I love everyone that I work with. So we've got Sarah, Basha, and Stefan, and they're all great. So we have weekly meetings, and we touch base on everything that's been going on, kind of fill each other in. And it's really like a big family. And I came in a little later to my role. Everyone started a couple months before me. I took over someone's role. And they just took me in with open arms and taught me everything that I needed to know. And I felt like I was part of their family right away, which was amazing. And, Stefan does a great job just being a great man. I'm going to say manager because he is our manager, but he's a great leader for us. I know I say you don't want to be a manager, but he's a great leader for us. He does a great job and really just like keeping up, our cohesion as a group, because that's important that we work together, collaboration. And we're always bouncing ideas off of each other and trying to support each other as much as possible. And so I really, really have enjoyed my time working with them, and I'm happy I've been able to work with such an amazing group of individuals.
Well, everybody's just so fun and so easy to talk to as well. Stefan and I will just get talking every so often. I've interviewed him a whole bunch. We've had him on this podcast a couple times
he's
now
a hoot
as well.
Yep.
Everybody's just tons of fun. So I do have a couple questions about some of your colleagues,
Sure.
just some fun little light stuff. So between the four of you, just to kind of help shed a little bit of a light for people who maybe don't know them as well, who would you say on the team is secretly the funniest one?
I think Stefan is, don't tell him I said this, but I think
we'll block him from not being able to see any of this.
I think Stefan's secretly the funniest one because he kind of has like a quirky sense of humor, so, and sometimes he doesn't even mean to be funny and he's funny. So I would have to go with Stefan.
I love that. No, I was talking to him not terribly long ago about budget Valentine's Day options, and he'll often start off very professional, very eloquent, and he'll make himself giggle about one little thing, and then go on a joke for a minute, and then get back to being professional and answer your questions.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
And of them, who would you say would be the best cook?
I feel like definitely not Stefan.
So he's definitely not seeing this episode of the podcast.
Definitely not. Yeah, I know a lot of. I feel like I'm gonna have to go with Basha, only because Basha always shows me what they've been making, and they're always making like amazing soups and like meal prepping. Like it looks amazing. But then on the other hand, Sarah too. It's a close tie between Sarah and Basha.
So where would you fit in on that kind of list
Oh,
of Stefan and Basha and Sarah?
I think I'm at the top.
Oh, you're
I'm
at the
Italian,
top?
so I gotta represent.
I've been to
But don't tell them that.
I've been to one Italian holiday party, and it was the best and the largest amount of food I've ever had in front of me at one given time.
Oh, for sure.
And I forget what it's called, but one of the grandmothers were going around with plates of like shots at one point, and I was like, what is going on here? Oh man.
Yep, I love being Italian. I just went home for reading week, and I came back definitely a couple pounds heavier. I was well fed.
It's tough not to. Oh wow. And of everyone, who would you say would be the best in the foot race?
Basha.
Basha?
Definitely. Basha's like super athletic, like super strong. So I'm giving it to Bosch. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to watch
Very
that in
agile.
general. And who's your go-to on the team for advice?
I've turned to Sarah a lot for advice. Sarah was a lawyer in Brazil. So Sarah kind of has that like knowledge and you know, she gives really good insight, like especially like when I'm writing an email and, you know, I'm like, oh, like, does this, like, what do you think of this? Sarah's always just got like the good advice and always knows how to word things properly and how to make, you know, she's always thinking about the students and always thinking about what's best for everyone from like an advocacy standpoint. So I'd have to go with Sarah.
No, that's a good call. I feel like I'd go to most of you for advice. You're all like very knowledgeable and very, very well spoken across the board.
We try to be.
I feel like there's no real wrong answer on that one in particular.
Yeah, exactly.
And last little one for you. Who would be the best person to plan a surprise party?
Like for or like with?
If they were planning for someone else.
I feel like, oh, that's so hard. You know what? I'm going to have to go with Basha on this one. I feel like everyone would be pretty good. Stefan, I don't know if he'd be able to keep secret because, you know, he's always like kind of like giggling. Like he'd be like, I know something you don't. But I think Basha knows how to throw a party. So I think Basha would go all out. But so does Sarah. Like, I don't know. I'm going to go Sarah and Basha for this one.
Okay. I like it. Yeah.
Because Stefan would give it away. Because he'd be like, I know something you don't. He'd tease you about it.
Stefan does not seem like he has a spectacular poker face.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
So no, great point. And yeah, that's a nice little fun bout. It was just some fun little questions. And so a big topic that I know we in the journalism section been talking about that I know a lot of the executive team's been discussing has been the referendum that's coming up. Can you go into just a little bit of detail about what that is exactly?
Yeah, for sure. So a major topic, you know, for the past couple of years and prevalently this year has been food insecurity. You know, grocery prices are insane, and our students are having a hard time, you know, making means and getting food at the grocery store. Our food banks have been overloaded. Our resources have been, you know, run dry because of the astronomical food prices. So basically this referendum is asking students for their vote. So it's a $2 increase to our ancillary fees. And if the vote passes as a yes, then the college will match that. And then so what happens is that this college or the FSU would just be able to provide more food services, cheaper food options. And, you know, like we have those breakfast programs at the front of B and T building. So we'd be able to offer more of those services and whatnot. So it's just bringing light to food insecurity and trying to help combat that issue, try at least with the referendum. So that's what it's all about.
It's a spectacular cause. I know over in the newsroom, we have been in contact with the food bank and some of the reps there consistently throughout the entire year because it has become a huge issue, not just for Fanshawe, but across London and Ontario in general. And it's just a great cause. So how can people go about voting for the referendum? Yeah,
so the voting is from March 4th to March 6th. And it's on the election ballots. So you're just going to have to go in and cast your vote. So either yes or no. And then if the majority votes yes, then the college will be matching the $2 increase. So then it would be $4 per student.
Which is spectacular.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think great cause. We've been talking about that for a good chunk of time. We've been trying to as part of the FSU, we've been trying to help out however we can with it. And at the end of the day, because we can kind of say it, it's just a huge cause to help future students. You're kind of setting a good precedent. And it's just good to get communication from the school as a whole on any topic. So, yeah. Go check that out. Highly recommend
it. For sure. Go vote. Make sure you vote. It's important that we get. And it's important for our students' voice to be heard, right? And for our students to be involved. So please vote.
And as we're getting towards the tail end of some of the main questions for this, with us getting towards the end of the regular school year, I know with the Interrobang, we've started doing a lot of writing for our year-end issue now, getting really, really reflective, getting through on the year. So this will probably be the toughest question I have for you. But throughout your entire time as the finance coordinator with the FSU, would you say that you've accomplished everything that you set out to do? Or is there anything that you still wish you almost had a little bit of time to accomplish?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I'm very content with what I've done. I don't think there's enough time in a school year to do everything that you do want to do. It's hard. We have to share our spaces amongst 3 coordinators. So we've each got different activities, clubs, and events that we want to have going on. So there's only certain, and we've only got so much space. But I've been very, very content with what I've done so far, and I'm immensely proud of all my clubs. Our clubs have been doing great. We've got over 30 active clubs, and they've shown amazing leadership skills. So I'm very proud of them. And I'm also very content with our financial literacy month. So November, and then March is the next financial literacy month where we'll have even more, guest lunch and learns and the financial bingo and stuff. So I feel overall I'd say I'm pretty content with what I've done. And like I said, there's never enough time to get everything in. But And if I could, I would continue my tenure here, but I can't. So unfortunately, but yeah, I'm content.
Nice. Well, that's a good way to kind of cap things.
Yeah.
I think content is a great word for it. The whole team across the board, it's been, especially getting more integrated in the Interrobang and talking with everybody, it's been a great team, a great year. There's been a lot of progress been made,
yes.
Even just from kind of an outside perspective looking in. It's been a really good year for everybody.
For sure.
And so that's it for all my major questions. I do have a little tradition that I kind of end on for every guest that I bring on, which is a little lightning round of quick questions, just to sort of help people learn a little bit more about you.
Okay.
None of them are going to be really big questions. Some of them might be a little hard.
Okay.
But the biggest thing is to just answer them as quick as possible, just to get your kind of gut reaction to it. So right off the bat, what is your favorite food?
Lasagna from the Italian club from my hometown.
Oh, that's really specific.
Very specific.
Would you have any good recommendations for Italian food here in London for other students?
Toscano's across the street. It's amazing, and it's so close to Fanshawe. I love it. I love it there.
There you go. Go check it out.
Go check it out.
Do you have a favorite movie?
I hate this question. I really like the Hunger Games series. I feel like I've always rewatched it since I was a kid. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Nice. I remember being so excited when that one came out.
Right.
We I think read all the books in school for classes, and Finnick was my favorite character.
Oh, Finnick is a good one.
Top tier.
Yep.
Who is your favorite music artist?
My favorite music artist right now, I really love Zach Bryan, and I'm going to see him March 17th. So I'm super excited. Yeah.
Fun. Do you go to concerts pretty frequently, or?
Yeah, a couple a year. So I try to get on the pre-sale, whatever I can afford with my budget. So
that was my little New Year's resolution. Not that I really make them, was to go to more concerts, because it's something I've been really, really
for
bad
sure.
on.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Rock the Park, Nickelback, and Tyler Childers, who I love. So I'm hoping to get tickets for that.
It's a really good set list for this year.
It's a great set list.
Do you have a favorite time of year?
I love the summer.
The summer?
I like it when it's warm out and I can go for walks and not worry about the cold. So
100%. Yeah, winter's the worst. Anyone who comes on here and says winter, I'm like, but why?
Literally. I'm from up north, and it's so cold up there, and I realize our mild winter, I don't like the winter. I'm content with it being warm. Yeah. So that was kind of my epiphany this year.
I hear you. I'm a summer child, so I totally hear you. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
I'm in the boat of I think I like the flavors of tea, but I drink infinitely more coffee than I do tea.
Oh, I drink. Sure. Yeah, me too. 100%. I like a good tea, at night, no caffeine, kind of. But I just had bubble tea yesterday for the first time.
Love bubble tea.
Yeah, it was really good. I was shocked. So that kind of might be my new, sweet treat. So we'll see.
They're so good.
Yeah, they are really good.
It depends on if you like the tapioca pearls.
I
and
love
all that
tapioca and the bursting pearls. So I'm gonna just be trying it all now.
Well, there's no shortage of spots in London now either.
Oh, God,
they used to be so rare even maybe 6-7 years ago. Now they're all over the place, and I'm ecstatic for it. Do you have a favorite celebrity?
Oh my God. Favorite celebrity. I guess this one's really basic, but Alex Earl recently, I guess. I don't really keep up with celebrities too much, but I guess I've really been liking her influence style. I guess very basic, but
hey, it works. It works. And do you have a favorite book at all?
I'm gonna go with.
If not, that's okay too.
I'll say the Hunger Games series.
Okay.
I read that when I was really young, and I remember me and my mom read it together because it was a little too advanced for me to read. So I'm gonna go with that because of the bonding moments.
Yeah, it's a cute little memory
Yeah.
to have associated with it.
Yeah.
And the last question for you, favorite color?
Favorite color? Blue.
Blue, good pick. I've been getting more and more pink in my wardrobe as of late.
It's so good.
So it's been lovely.
I never wear colors, so I'm always wearing like black,
Like black or
gray.
gray.
Yeah.
It works. It goes with everything. It's hard
Exactly.
not
It's
to.
a comfort color. Stefan told me for the Impact Gala, he was like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna wear a black dress. He's like, you can't wear a black dress. You always wear black. And he's like, you're gonna blend in with the background, so you can't. I was like, okay.
No, for the biggest influence for me has been I'm really big into sneakers, and so I'll usually try and mix up the colors of there to force me to change up my wardrobe a
Yep.
little bit. So.
Love that.
And so that's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for
Appreciate your
having
time.
me. Has anyone ever done a lightning round on you?
Oh no, I usually chime in with my little answers as we go along, but no one's done it for me quite yet.
What's your favorite color?
I'd say pink or like a kind of like a pastel orange kind of a thing.
Is a hamburger a sandwich?
I'd say a hamburger, a hot dog. I'd be in the boat of maybe like a taco more than a sandwich.
Fair enough.
That's the one I get divisive on.
Okay, fair.
Yeah.
And regular ice or pebble ice?
Oh, pebble ice for sure. I'm the one person where if I have a drink that has ice in it and I get like a block of it in my mouth, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, right? Kind of ruins it. Pebble ice is so good. I wish I had an ice machine. We should get one in our office.
I would sign up
Right?
for that on the next referendum. And so thank you so much for watching or listening to this week's episode of the Interrobangs Red Couch podcast. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts on Spotify, Google, YouTube, any of the sorts. Our current issue, the job hunt issue, is on shelves now. You can check that out or find all of our stories on our website at theinterrobang.ca or check us out online on Twitter or X at theinterrobang_FSU. And that pretty much is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
See ya.